Yo, we're live. Let's go. Quick little live stream. Monday afternoon. Let's go. Let's go, chat. All right, let's see who's joining up here. I'll share it on Twitter. Just do a quick, chill 15, 20-minute stream here. All right. I don't even know if noties will go out because I've uploaded a bunch. All right. Let's see who's in chat. Oh, geez. Okay, 80 people already in the live. Let's go. What's up, Ben, Lexi, Sky, Tyler, Bobby, Senator's Outlook, Camden, Jesse, Chris, Toast, Python, Blair. Geez, a lot of people in the chat right now. Yeah, but Logan, for $3 million, you could have him on the second line with Tavares and Marner. Like that, like it's like any team, right? Like I feel like a guy like Ross Colton, is he a top six forward every day? Probably not, but he had time in the top six. It's just, you have options here. Matthew Nyes, to me, the potential is going to be a consistent top six guy. You might have him on the third line. You might have him on the second line. I think regardless, these are some massive moves, man. I think the Leafs went quickly from losers of the free agency to winners real quick. Hey, Mr. Real in the chat. Appreciate it. Keely, thank you for the happy birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Dalen, thank you. Yeah, I mean, if it's Nyes and Bertuzzi on the left wing in the top six, it's pretty top notch. What's up, Chris? On point with the fives. His prediction, DeBrincat will be on the Islanders by the end of the day. Yeah, I've been saying DeBrincat to the Islanders if they can't get Tarasenko. So, thank you. On point for the dono. Let's get some on point hype in the chat. We're just going to stay live here for 15 or 20 minutes. But I just wanted to go through potential scenarios, guys, because a lot of people are saying, hey, what are the Leafs going to do? They can't fit these guys in the cap space. Well, let's look over it here. So, with Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi signing, I got to give myself creds, guys. More than 24 hours ago, I was saying Domi and Bertuzzi, make it happen, and the Leafs can do it with either attaching a first or second to like Yarncrow and Murray, for example, which is costly, but maybe you get a younger piece back, or you just buy out Matt Murray and you figure it out past that. So if you look at this scenario, guys, I've just pulled it up here. So this is a roster size of 21 with positive cap space. You have Bertuzzi, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, Domi, Marner, Robertson, Holmberg, Nyes. So yes, as I said, you could switch Tavares to the center spot. You could have Nyes up here. Then you could do something like this, where that's your third line, and that's your fourth line. Either way, Domi, I would like to see Domi with Marner. I think they were teammates in London. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So you can decide where Tavares is, if he's on the left wing or up the middle. But Matthew Nyes will be either in one of these two spots, I'd imagine. Bertuzzi will play with Matthews. I think that was the big selling point to bring him into Toronto. I personally want the Leafs to get a different type of defenseman, but Brody could stay. So if Brody stays, this is your 7 defensemen: Riley, Brody, McCabe, Klingberg, Giordano, Liljegren, Timmins. And you sign Samsonov to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. I think his qualifying offer's around like 2.1. So you sign Samsonov to another prove-it deal. He was at $1.8 million. So this is a raise. This is an $800,000 or $700,000 raise. And Joseph Woll and Samsonov are your goalies. And then if you look at the long-term outlook, so in this scenario, you're just trading Sam Lafferty for like a 4th-round pick to open up a little bit of space. You sign Samsonov, and you buy out Matt Murray. So Matt Murray's only just under $700,000 against the cap for this year for the buyout. But if you look for next year, and we'll slide across here. Let's see. So Matt Murray, I think it's $2 million against the cap for next year. Yeah, there you go. So as you can see there, in 2024, 2025, Matt Murray would be $2 million against the cap, which is not great. So that's why you're hoping either Matt Murray's on LTIR if he's not healthy, or you have to trade him and attach a pick and prospect to Matt Murray to get rid of him. But it's only 1 year left. That's the positive thing. But if the Leafs buy out Matt Murray, as I said, in the second window, and they move either Yarncrow or Lafferty, because those are more solid cap hits, you could have a 21-man roster, as I said, with positive cap space, and you can also keep William Nylander. So that's the scenario. So this one would be more of a hot take. I don't think things like this are happening, but I saw this online going after Tom Wilson. I mean, this is positive cap space, but if you're going to trade William Nylander, I think you need to bring in another guy with bite if you're really trying to change this roster, but I don't see it happening. But looking more at this defense, again, this would be positive cap space in this scenario. I would be down to see a defense group like this. Riley, Tanev, McCabe, Klingberg, Zadorov, Timmins. I mean, if this was possible to get a defense core like this, like I put it out on Twitter. I think Brad Treliving, having the Flames connection, we've all been talking about Noah Hanifin over and over again, but I think Treliving's going to target one of Tanev or Zadorov. What do you guys think, chat? I have a good feeling Treliving's going to target one of those guys. Right now, as I said, it's probably like Riley, Brody, McCabe, Klingberg, and Giordano with Liljegren or Timmins. And I know some people have talked about Leafs looking at a Matt Dumba. And I mean, Dumba's high risk, man, but he does lay some hits and he's got some good offensive talent. But I think if you can get either Chris Tanev or Nikita Zadorov from Calgary, I think that's a shout. And I think at this point, I think a lot of Leaf fans and a lot of people have talked about Samsonov signing about a 2-year deal or 3-year deal, somewhere between $3.5 to $4 million. But I think based on this scenario, Samsonov made $1.8 million last year, as I talked about. I think give him a bit of a raise for a 1-year deal. He got injured and he still wasn't like the full-on starter all year, but he did take the reins. I think like a 1-year deal for like $2.5 to $3 million for Samsonov is probably your best bet. I think that makes the most sense if you're the Leafs. So that, I mean, maybe not both these guys is realistic, but say you keep, I don't know, say you keep Giordano in the fold and you keep Liljegren in the fold. Maybe just go for Zadorov and have a top 4 of Riley, Zadorov, McCabe, Klingberg. But maybe they do keep Brody. We'll see. But I think at this point, you're probably moving one of Brody or Nylander. If the extensions are not going well, or the extension talk are not going well with Nylander, maybe there's a scenario where Nylander gets traded. And that's why I would say go after another guy with bite. Just make the forward group so hard to play against. But these defensemen are also hard to play against, Tanev and Zadorov, and I think that's why Treliving's going to look at it. And I've talked about other guys because I'm on a heater right now. I predicted Bertuzzi, I predicted Domi, and I said it could happen. I would look at 2 other guys if there's potential. I don't know if it's realistic of Ryan Hartman in Minnesota or Tom Wilson, obviously we've talked about, but I think you just got a lot tougher to play against. And this is also a scenario online of saying you could keep this going with the Murray on LTIR. And I mean, Cherry's talking about it. Leafs just got a lot harder to play against. So we'll see if they have some more moves coming either on the back end or another move up front. But I'm seeing, guys, sorry, I was missing some birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. But chat, what do you guys see more likely? Do you see Nylander getting traded or Brody getting traded? I want to see it in the comments. What's more likely right now, Nylander or Brody to get traded? I just want to read comments at this point. Yo, guys, on a Monday, over 200 people in the chat. I know for a lot of us Canadians, we have Monday off for work. Appreciate you guys. Well, hey, Jeremiah with the happy birthday. I appreciate it. What's up, Spen? How's it going, Darkness? Good to see you in the chat. What's up, Brandon? Yeah, we'll see if the Islanders go after DeBrincat or if they try to sign Tarasenko. But definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Hit that like button. Let's go. A lot of people in the chat. I could probably stay for another 10, 15 minutes. Maybe more. We'll see. But I appreciate all of you guys in this live stream right now. Timo Solani, yep. Hey, Michael, I appreciate it. Duke, thank you so much. Brendan, I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you want to hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, I appreciate it. Oh, Jeremiah, I feel a lot better. I got a much better sleep last night. Saturday morning, I was struggling. But hey, guys, W's, man. The fact that I was feeling the way I was Saturday morning and I still went ahead to stream for almost 9 hours, guys, W to the commitment, to the free agency. I wasn't able to stream for the draft, obviously, because of other commitments. But the fact that I streamed for almost 9 hours, and big shout out to my guy, Jeremiah, for holding the fort down for a couple hours as well. Just an absolute legend through and through. And yeah, Bertuzzi and Domi coming in Massive dubs. You guys see I got the throwbacks, Zadina and Cabriolet in the background. I wish I had a throwback Domi as well. Complete a little trio there, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Is that what he said? Is that what trade? Guys, that's so jokes. I mean, hey, as I just talked about, I don't know if Joseph, I don't know if you were in the chat, but like I talked about it. Matt Murray going on a buyout plus one trade of Yarncrow or Lafferty, and it works. So I know a lot of people are talking about the bigger trade potentially of Brody or Nylander, but the Leafs can make it work if they really want to by just buying out Matt Murray and trading one of Yarncrow or Lafferty. I mean, Yarncrow put up 20 goals. You can't tell me that there's teams out there that would consider that a cap dump at $2.1 million. I mean, sure, they might do a good old screw you to the Leafs and not want to help the Leafs in a way, but it's like 2.1 for a 20-goal scorer. There's teams out there that need that, right? So even Lafferty, like I feel like Lafferty would be a great asset for a lot of teams. I want to keep Lafferty and Yarncrow in terms of like an ideal world, but I mean, Yarncrow did nothing in the playoffs. For $2.1 million, it's very replaceable. So, yeah, Yarncrow can be good defensively, but just like, guy was just not producing, and he wasn't a very good piece in the playoffs. But yeah, at $2.1 million, you're not going to nitpick too much. What's going on, Gabby? Man, get out of here, Gabby, with these proposals. No, Gabby, what a beauty. Thanks, Gabby Oates in the chat. Unreal. Mark, how's it going? Oh, Mark, big sandpaper to the lineup. Appreciate you, Mark. Hope you're having a good one. Josh Bailey. I know the Leafs were talking to Josh Bailey. I mean, unless it's like $850K, I'm good with no Josh Bailey. Let's leave it at that. Biased. Yarncrow's okay, but he just didn't show up in the playoffs, man. And to me, playoffs is everything. Yarncrow had a good 82-game season. I don't know. I think he might have missed a couple games. I'm not sure. Maybe he didn't. But regardless, playoffs. Like every time. I look at how a guy plays in the playoffs, and Yarncrow was kind of a non-factor in the playoffs. What's up, Michael? Hey, Ken Dog, appreciate it. Yeah, I actually liked how Lafferty played for the most part. I wouldn't mind keeping Lafferty for sure. So if you have to create a little bit of flexibility, that's why I said Yarncrow potentially, right? But yeah, guys, let us know if you're a new viewer, new subscriber. I see a lot of loyal viewers in here, a lot of people that have been around for a while, so I really appreciate it. We got almost 300 in the chat. You guys are awesome. From early Monday afternoon, that's top notch. Yeah, Jason, ideally, I think they'd like to keep Lafferty. Eric says Nylander for a Pesce and Jarvis trade. That would get people pretty amped up, I think. I think a lot of people are high on Pesce. I don't know if I'm as high as how some people talk. I like Pesce a lot as a top 4 option, but the way some people talk about it, it's like you have to understand it's also Carolina's system. So I think Jarvis is going to be unreal. So I'd be intrigued by that trade if the Leafs can't figure out a Nylander contract. Got any special B-Day plans? Well, yeah, that's why I'm not going to be able to stream for that long, guys, because my fam is taking me out for lunch. So big dubs. Friday, I went out for some beers with a couple friends, and then Saturday, obviously did the big free agency stream, then went out for dinner, and then yeah, I've been blessed all weekend, guys. Got a lot of generous people just treating me out. Then had a nice steak yesterday. Played some soccer. Ripped a couple breaking news because Domi and Bertuzzi is a Toronto Maple Leaf. And obviously today in Canada, because it was Canada Day on Saturday, obviously. Today we got work off. We got work off on my birthday. It worked out. Didn't even have to take a vacation day. Just got the day off because of the long weekend. So going to go out for some lunch with the fam. And then later on, meet up with some more fam as well. Get the grandparents and get some desserts going, you know. Might rip something in the afternoon. We haven't really thought it through yet, but the New York strip loin. There you go. Yeah. Oh man, it was a good steak, man. A little 12 ounce, you know, just a little one. What's up, Sweaty? Yeah, I'll check her out. What's up, State of Survival? Yeah, Lonzo, the one that just went out is a small one, guys. The Leafs just signed Dylan Gambrell to, I think, what, $775K for 1 year. I mean, that's nothing. He'll play in the Marlies. What's up, official? Robert. Sorry, guys, if I missed a bunch of comments. What's up, Monty? Vernon with the 5 says Christmas in July for Leafs fans. Yeah, Vernon. Hey, we got to hold on to something, man. We got to hold on to something. Big shout out to Vernon. Let's get some Vernon hype in the chat. Let's go. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the 5. State of Survival, what's going on? What's up, Leafs Nation? Says Leafs could still quietly go after Dumba and Comtois. I mean, they'd have to make other moves, but... I've always heard announcers say Gambrell. I've never heard Gambrell. Maybe it is. Is it Gambrell? I've never heard that. I've heard Gambrell, guys, for broadcasters, but... Tarasenko to Tampa Bay, I can't see that. Yeah, Brad's buzzing. Yeah, guys, which team do you think is going to claim Filip Zadina on waivers? That was shocking when I saw that. That was shocking. Filip Zadina on waivers. That was shocking. You just know. I mean, a team's going to claim him. I thought he was going to be part of a trade. But, I mean, it's going to be like, I would think a Chicago or Arizona or like one of the classic teams like Anaheim. I don't know. I feel like one of those teams will claim him. Philly could be an option too, yeah. So we'll see. What's up, Garrett? How's it going? What's up, Christian? Bleacher Report's guessing Tarasenko to Ottawa. Interesting. Yeah, I think Tarasenko, like at this point, that's a good take. Like I think I would even tweet this out. I think it's going to be either Tarasenko to the Islanders or DeBrincat to the Islanders and Tarasenko to Ottawa. That's what I think is going to happen here. I think they're going to be tied together. And I'm going to tweet that out right now. And make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. Let's see. Or DeBrincat trade to the Islanders and Tarasenko signs with Ottawa. That could be a vibe. Darkness, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'll double check, but the Islanders open up that cap space. If they just move, let me see here. Like, I'm pretty sure if the Islanders just move one of Pajot or Palmieri, they would have enough space. Yeah, they just have to make a trade. So to sign Tarasenko, they have to move one of Pajot or Palmieri, which, yeah, it might not be easy to do, but I mean, the fact that they're in both those discussions, I think it's possible. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of direct cap space right now, Ottawa's more likely to get Tarasenko. So Darkness, do you see this scenario where, and this is what I talked about last live stream, I don't know if you're in here. I talked about the scenario of Ottawa, or it was with Jeremiah. I talked about the scenario of Pajot. Ottawa would look like geniuses if they do a trade like this that I'm about to list. It'd be like Pajot and Wallstrom to Ottawa. Ottawa obviously trades to DeBrincat to the Islanders. And then Ottawa signs Tarasenko to like a cheap 1-year deal or 2-year deal. Imagine the Islanders or the Sens out of all of that get like Pajot, Tarasenko, and Wallstrom. Like the Sens could play this really well if they wanted to. Aaron Adams with the 24 months is happy birthday, bud. Thank you so much. Let's get some Aaron Adams hype in the chat. What a beauty. Really appreciate that. Let's go Aaron Adams. But I could see the Islanders and Sens doing something like that where Pajot goes to Ottawa and maybe another young piece. I said Wallstrom, but it could be one of the younger defensemen too. Hey, Curtis, thanks for the happy birthday. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate it. Let's see. The Red Wings could still get DeBrincat. It's possible, I think. They could scoop it and get him, but they'd have to probably send a contract back. That's why I suggested Robbie Fabry would probably be in the deal. I think it'd probably be like a Robbie Fabry, younger player, and like a first-round pick for DeBrincat, something like that. And Fabry's pretty decent. We got 320 in the chat, guys. I'll rip another 10 minutes. And then probably going to head out in the next little while to lunch. Jigme says Tarasenko to Toronto. Nah, that's not happening. They don't got the space. I don't think that was ever a possibility. Ottawa Senators outlook? What do you mean? No, I'm sorry, but no. Sens outlook. I don't know if you think you guys are getting like bear picks and prospects, but basically, I don't know. I would say DeBrincat's probably the structure of the trade is going to be like a first, a prospect, roster player. I think it's going to be those three assets. And I think that's, I mean, I don't know how you can expect a lot more with this tight cap than that trade I just suggested. That's why I think it's the same thing for the Islanders. I think it'd be like Pajot, younger player at Wallstrom, and then maybe a draft pick. Let's see. Tops, how's it going? Evan, happy birthdays. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Little day drinks. Let's go. Any news on a Willie trade? Yo, cheers in the chat, guys. Little day B-day drink. Let's go. Nicholas says happy birthday. Thank you, Nick. Why not a Nylander for Rasmus Anderson trade? I mean, Leafs Nation, that's in consideration. I just don't know if Calgary's trying to trade Rasmus Anderson. But in terms of like team control and Rasmus Anderson's on a really cheap contract, I think the Leafs would maybe consider something like that. But I think they'd want to forward in that deal as well. Crazy Dog with the 21 months. Happy birthday, my dude. Do the Blue Jackets still go after a 1C even after drafting Fantilli? I think they go after a C. I mean, my thing is they were still going to draft Leo Carlson if they didn't get Fantilli. So that's a center long term. And they were willing to still at one point get Kevin Hayes. I think when they started getting the feeling of getting Fantilli, they didn't want to commit for 3 years. But I mean, the dream would be like a guy like Lindholm. But I honestly think Columbus could be in the market for another type of center, like a 2 or like a 1B situation up the middle. You want a veteran to support Fantilli. If they believe that's Boone Jenner, maybe they do. And you know what? I'll say it right now. I mean, I don't think Jackets fans should be too disappointed if at least for the next 2-3 years, your 1-2 punch is Fantilli, Boone Jenner, just for the sake of that Boone Jenner, the leader, two-way game, bite. And I think the fact that you have 4 stud wingers, potentially, I mean, I think Kent Johnson's going to be unreal, obviously. And Laine, Gaudreau, Marchenko put up some numbers, and you obviously got other options there. So, hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it, Crazy Dog. Coaching situation, Sky, I've been very solid on it. Sheldon Keefe should not be the head coach still. There's just no chance he should be the head coach on July 3rd, 2023. Like, you know what? I actually think probably Sheldon Keefe, great guy. I think he's got a good relationship with a lot of the guys in the room, but I think that also can go a little backwards on you. I think sometimes that's why the Dubas-Keefe thing, while it worked at certain levels, at the NHL level, when you have a guy constantly overriding decisions, and that's probably what the dynamic of was like Shanahan versus Keefe, or Shanahan versus Dubas as well. It was probably Dubas versus Keefe a little bit as well. So I feel like the fact that Trey Living is more of like, I don't know, he's seen it through. He's seen a lot of the Coyotes organization. He's seen a lot of the Flames organization. He was the one that facilitated the Tkachuk trade. He knows a lot of the things not to do. I think Trey Living's learned a lot. And I feel like that was Dubas learning a lot in Toronto. Like Dubas was going through that learning process in Toronto. So my thing is hopefully Keefe is past the learning process here. But I think at this point, you probably should have just moved on, potentially to a more experienced guy. But you know what? I will say this. After seeing these couple trades or couple signings here, and if they do pursue a couple trades here that are really going to make this a tough lineup to play against, people are going to talk about the defensive game. Yeah, you know what? The Leafs are probably going to be worse defensively next year. But at the end of the day, why do people always have this conversation? To me, this very short-sighted conversation of that the Leafs haven't been playing good defensive hockey. Outside of 2 games against Tampa in these playoffs, was Florida or Tampa potting 4 or 5 goals every game or something? Like, was I missing something here? The Leafs were pretty good defensively for the most part. Obviously, Hall drove me nuts. McCabe made his mistakes in the playoffs. Brody made his mistakes in the playoffs. But, I mean, they were playing pretty good defensive hockey against 2 great offensive teams. So, my thing is, sure, I want a pure defensive defenseman in here, like a Chris Tanev, or like I've talked about those kind of guys. But it's not like the Leafs were like Canadian. I know you've been on this wagon of saying the Leafs need to get a lot better defensively. Like, do we have to pull up the scores in the playoffs? All I'm saying is it was above average. It wasn't as bad as some people make it out to be. And trust me, I'm far from this guy that makes excuses. There's a lot of people in this fan base that makes excuses consistent. But my thing is, look around the league, folks. If you're just looking at the Leafs, if you're chilling in Leaf land, then okay, but Canadian, the offseason is not over. You get that, right? It's July 3rd. This is how people were talking on July 1. I was saying the Leafs after July 1 were day 1 losers. I don't think anyone can argue that. Day 1, if you specifically look at day 1, they were losers. But they were patient. And I said that in my video. I said, let's chill out. Let's not react until Monday. Well, guess what, folks? It's Monday, right? We're on Monday right now, and I have a little bit of better reaction because you have to give it a couple days. July 1 is when actually a lot of mistakes happen. So my thing is, now you've complemented your forwards in a better way. Now defense is next. And Trey Living said they're not done. They were going to make a couple moves on defense. They made one move with Klingberg. At the end of the day, people can argue that Klingberg was a bad signing. It's 1 year. Like, you pick and choose here what you want. Do you want to commit the long term and knock $500,000 off the price? Like, at the end of the day, look what Trey Living just did. He just brought in 3, I would say, big-time point-producing guys for, let's do the math quickly in my head. You got 3 for Domi, 5.5 for Bertuzzi, and just over 4 for Klingberg. Like, we're talking about $12, $13 million total for 3 guys that are probably each going to produce at least, I would say Tyler Bertuzzi next to Austin Matthews is easily going to produce 70-plus points. If he's next to Matthews all year, I'm locking him in for 70-plus points. Domi, I would say I'm locking him in for 50-plus points if he's on the power play and next to Marner at any point in the season. I would say 50-plus points. He put up 56 points last year in 80 games with the Blackhawks and Stars. So I would lock him in for 50-plus points if he put up 56 with those two teams. And Klingberg, offensively, especially if he gets a lot of top power play time, I'm locking in Klingberg for 40-plus points for sure. Look at the production I just said. So you lost O'Reilly, who was a trade deadline acquisition. You lost Luke Schenn, who was a trade deadline acquisition, right? You lost Noel Acciari, trade deadline acquisition. The only guy that was producing big-time points last year that started the year with the Leafs that you lost was Bunting, right? And the Leafs are now going to start the regular season at the very start with Bertuzzi, Domi, and Klingberg. There's still lots of time to I would say, add to the defensive side of things. Like I talked about Chris Tanev. Or I honestly, guys, I think there's a good chance that Tree Living goes out and gets one of Zadorov or Tanev. I just said that on Twitter. I think it's very likely. Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate you. Lots of love. Hey, big shout out to Melissa in the chat. Unreal. Big shout out to the kiddos. Yeah, Canadian, you just got to be patient. And Canadian, I do disagree with you on the offense was never the issue. Go look at the games against Florida. Tavares had, I can't even count how many high quality chance opportunities Tavares had in around the net, in around the slot, and just didn't finish. There was a huge issue with the Stars, except for the one game that Matthews potted the 2 in the third period. There was a huge issue with the Stars scoring in the playoffs. It was evident. So scoring and offense was 100% an issue in the playoffs for a large majority of the second round. So my thing is, Canadian, look what Trey Living just added. And look at Bertuzzi and Domi's numbers in the playoffs. Folks, should we pull it up right now? Let's pull up Bertuzzi, and this is what matters. Let's pull up Bertuzzi. We're going to pull up all three. Klingberg and Domi's point production in the playoffs. All right? Sample size, folks. That's what I always like to go at. Not recency bias. Not 1 year. Sample size. Because I remember looking at Klingberg's stats the other day on playoffs, and I think he only had one bad first round where he only had like 1 or 2 points. But outside of that, sample size. All right, let's... Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, so looking at Tyler Bertuzzi, this is Bertuzzi's point card here. Look at that point production in the playoffs last year. Yes, the Bruins lost in the first round, but Bertuzzi wasn't part of the problem. I'd say that. 10 points in 7 games for 5 goals in that first round. That's Tyler Bertuzzi in the playoffs right there, folks. All right. Max Domi in the playoffs. Sample size. 13 points in 19 games. Again, overall, you look back to the Habs, not great in terms of the playoffs. But, and this is, with the Carolina Hurricanes, he was playing third line minutes. With the Dallas Stars, he was playing third line minutes. And look at that production. That's on third line. Go look at, guys, folks, go look at Kerfoot's points in the playoffs next to Max Domi's points in the playoffs. And you tell me who's producing at a better rate. And then this is John Klingberg. Yeah, this one, not ideal. But that Stanley Cup run, or Stanley Cup Finals run with the Dallas Stars against the Tampa Bay Lightning, that's John Klingberg's stat line in 26 games. Again, I hate being that guy, that NHL.com guy that just looks at points, simple goals, and assists. But as simple as we can go to it right now, these guys put up numbers in the playoffs when they have the opportunity to do so. And I think, as I talked about, the familiarity with a guy like Domi playing with a guy like Mitch Marner, who's played with in the past, having the passion, and then looking at a guy like Tyler Bertuzzi, now going to be playing with Austin Matthews, and he put up 10 points in 7 games in the playoffs, 5 goals. And then you look at Klingberg, what he can do in an offensive system in a big role. These are the 2 stat lines that Klingberg can do when he's in an offensive system and getting top power play time. And also, Minnesota got knocked out real quick here, but that's a good sample size as well. For a defenseman, almost 40 playoff points in 63 games, pretty top notch. So that's my point. I mean, I want guys to show up in the playoffs. That's all I've talked about. Thank you, Farms. Appreciate it. Bertuzzi, Matthews, Nylander, Drax would be my vibe because I want Domi or Tavares to play with Marner. I want Domi to be with Marner. Yeah, Canadian, I agree with you on that point. But you have to understand that all it takes is one move here. Like Canadian, think about a top 4 of Riley, Tanev, McCabe, Klingberg. That's not too expensive. And I think at the end of the day, it gets the job done. I think if McCabe plays a simple game, the coaching staff just has to literally have this as a big focus with Jake McCabe. You are not to take risks. You are going to play your steady game. You're going to be physical. You're going to clear lanes. You're going to clear the front of the net. That needs to be Jake McCabe's style. If you have Jake McCabe playing that style, playing that kind of hockey with John Klingberg, that's going to be, I think, a successful pair. If that is the message to McCabe and he actually implements that in his game. Chris Tanev, he is hard to play against. He is big-time defensive. That's why I want that guy to play with Morgan Rielly. I've been manifesting that the last couple of years. I do think Trey Living, if he can't get Tanev, he might just revert to getting Nikita Zadorov, who's a monster. I think he makes some mistakes sometimes, but he's a monster. He's what? Someone pull it up in the chat, guys. How tall is Zadorov? I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", somewhere around there. I think he's between 6'4" and 6'6", around there. Monster, right? And honestly, in the past, haven't been a big fan of him. Guy had a little cheap shot at Morgan Rielly. Had to go after him one time. But hey, bygones be bygones. We'll try to make it work for the benefit of the team. But I think Zadorov's definitely 6'5" plus. So I do think they're probably going to go to Calgary for a trade potentially because of the surplus of defensemen there. But we'll see. I think Zadorov or Tanev could be a target. But guys, all right, I got to hop off in T-minus 3 minutes. We'll do final 3 minutes, and then I got to hop off. So last few questions or comments. So that's what I'm saying, Canadian. Be patient. Trey Living just showed that he's got some stuff up his sleeve. I think he's going to make 1 or 2 more trades to really solidify this roster. 1 or 2 more significant moves, whether it's a Matt Murray buyout or attach a couple picks to Matt Murray and Calle Jarnkrok, move on, get a defenseman. I think there's a very likely chance they trade one of Brody or Nylander. Obviously, I think in an ideal sense, you keep Nylander and you have a top 9 of Bertuzzi, Matthews, Nylander, Domi, Tavares, Marner, Matthew Nyes, Robertson, Holmberg, or David Kampf, put it in any order. And you trade Brody, right? I think that's the vibe. Mark, I appreciate it. Yeah, Canadian, it's my B-Day. Thank you, appreciate it. A official, thank you so much. Jeremy, my cap for Luke Schenn was a 3-year deal at $2 million or a 2-year deal at $2.5 million. That was my cap for Luke Schenn. He got a 3-year deal at 2.7. If the Leafs signed that, I wouldn't have hated it. But my non-bias, because I'm a little biased towards Schenn, I just think what he brought to the team and being paired with Rielly, I thought it was just unreal. So I don't think I would have been upset if they signed that exact same contract with Nashville. But I will say that, yeah, my non-bias rational take was your max has to be a 3-year deal. No, like $2 million is already like a lot, but like 3-year deal, $2 million, or 2-year deal where there's less risk for like 2.5. That was like my max for Luke Schenn. So Nashville went the extra year and more money. Stuart with the 5. Thank you so much for the donos. Says happy birthday. Now that we got Max Domi, we added more speed and grit. Trey Living needs to get 2 more defensemen. I love that third line. Yeah, Stuart, big time. Thank you so much for the dono. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Darkness. Nashville versus St. Louis will be fun for that reason. The 2 brothers. Derek, they're going to have to trade Brody either in that deal or in a different deal. So I see Brody going out the door. And then I think Calgary could find some interest in a guy like Timothy Liljegren. If the Leafs don't have plans for Liljegren to eventually become a top 4 defenseman, I think that has to be the vibe. If he's not going to end up being a top 4 defenseman with the Leafs, similar to Sandin, I think you have to move him at some point. And maybe for a more experienced guy. So I could see Liljegren being part of the package to Calgary and getting one as Zadorov or Tanev. I could see it. Again, to me, I think Liljegren provides a lot more long-term value than a guy like Zadorov. So Tanev has the injury concerns for me, but I would love Chris Tanev next to Morgan Rielly. I think that'd be a perfect fit. Let's see. Leafs fan, no. I think Justin Hall will ride out that contract with Detroit, but we'll see. Yeah, Evan. Domi and Bertuzzi, people have to understand, they're not going to lay a lot of hits. That's going to be Ryan Reeves. But Domi and Bertuzzi will get under the opponent's skin. Like a little jabs, little, like, I don't know, closeouts that are going to maybe get, I don't know, a low-key elbow in there, something like that, right? Like, they just do those little things. Pure stat, like stat receiving hits, like that people are actually going to mark down as a hit. Domi and Bertuzzi don't do a lot of them. I think Domi basically had the same amount of hits as Kerfoot. But he does those little things that are really under the skin and things that Kerfoot just doesn't do. Let's see. Sorry if I'm missing comments, guys. I'm trying to read as many as I can. Morgan, hey, hot take. Do you think that the Leafs will make a trade? Yeah, I think they'll make a couple trades. Brody, Liljegren, Jarnkrok for Tanev and Zadorov. Big dream. That's interesting. I mean, I had like basically a mock trade like that with Jarnkrok not in the deal because I don't think Jarnkrok would waive to Calgary. I could be wrong on that, but that's interesting. I could see the Leafs and Flames essentially hooking up on a trade and one of Zadorov or Tanev coming to Toronto. So I'll leave it at that. And you guys heard it here first. So, hey, reach out to Hot Take Hockey if it happens. Hey, Ted, how's it going? Thanks for being here. Yeah, it's my B-Day. Yeah, Canadian people have been ripping into me, but the moves that I've been suggesting, I suggested Bertuzzi and Domi and how to make it work. Yeah, that's the last thing I'll show on the stream, guys. Just give me a sec here. Let me pull it up. Crosby, come here. Want a treat? You guys want to see Crosby on the way out here? I'll just show you guys on the stream in case you haven't seen it. Guys, look at this video that I made. If you guys haven't seen it, see, this was well before. Up here. Look at this guy, guys. Crosby's here too. Hey, Crosby. Let's go, buddy. So, I predicted it. After, hey, everyone is hating on Brad Treliving, and the Leafs didn't do anything day one. So the night of Saturday, I made this video before there was any rumors of the Leafs talking to Bertuzzi or Domi. I think there was actually maybe one thing that was sent out that the Leafs had talked to Domi or something. But I made this video on how the Leafs could get both these guys, and it's aging really well. So, hey, check out that video. I said either they're going to attach something to Matt Murray or they're going to buy out Matt Murray. So we'll see. But hey, big shout out to Crosby for joining. And yeah, go check out this video. Huge dump prediction from HTH. Let's go. Domi and Bertuzzi to Toronto. All right, up. Want to come? Come here. Look. Up. Say bye to the viewers. All right, guys. Say bye to Crosby. Oh, getting grumpy. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, guys. Appreciate the support on the channel. Hit that like button. Hit the notification bell. Yeah, I mean, you guys are the best. Let's go. Let's keep buzzing on this channel, and let's see what else the Leafs and if the NHL, if there's any trades, guys, as usual, or any big signings. Oh, my God, this guy's buzzing. I will make videos or go live. So go check out the videos, guys, as I post, and we'll see you later, guys. I'm going to go have some lunch with my fam for the birthday. And yeah, if I didn't see you guys, thank you, Canadian. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone. Leafs fan, Jeremiah Hayden. If I didn't read your comment, guys, or I didn't get to, I really do apologize. Please reach out to me. Shoot me a message on Twitter, Instagram. Later today, I'm going to reply to everyone on Twitter and Instagram. So just shoot me a DM, and I'll get back to you. Crosby, stay, sit. Good boy. All right. Bye, guys. See you soon. Have a great one.